Previously we have discussed about ductility measurements in tension test. There we have discussed we have mentioned ductility in terms of percent elongation, okay, which is denoted as EF, right, and also reduction of area Q, right. So in terms of these variables, we were defining ductility for a given material, okay. But now there is an issue in measuring the ductility. The issue comes from the geometry of the specimen, okay. We have mentioned earlier that in order to remove the geometrical dependence, we, instead of using load, we have introduced stress, and instead of using length we have used strain, okay. So that whatever we measure will be just a result of material and not the result of geometry. However, in the ductility measurement, the way we measure in terms of percent elongation or reduction of area, the geometry will influence, okay. And that's what we're gonna see in this video, and we'll also see how are we going to rectify that, okay. Fine. So now let's look at this picture. So this is the specimen, and this from here to here is the gauge length, and somewhere here, okay, necking is happening. And if you take a local elongation, by local elongation, if you take a small infinitesimal piece, not infinitesimal but a small piece, and the elongation of that piece is given corresponding to this place, okay. So, and if we observe that everywhere this local elongation will be uniform except near this necking region, okay. So at necking region this elongation will be more, okay. And now if I consider these things, and if I write LF minus L0, where LF is the gauge length at fracture, and L0 is the initial gauge length, okay. And LF minus L0 is equal to alpha plus EU into L0. So what is this EU into L0? So EU is the engineering strain at ultimate tensile strength, and L0 is the in original length, okay. And this will provide what is the elongation at or when the specimen reaches its ultimate tensile strength. And after that the necking happens, and the necking happens only in a certain region. It's a local phenomena, and the deformation will happen only in this region, okay, in this region. And so that's, and in other regions there won't be any elongation, therefore it's just EU into L0, okay. So therefore the total elongation LF minus L0 is equal to the elongation or the local elongation at necking region, which is alpha, plus EU into L0, okay. So now using this relation, okay, let me calculate what is EF. EF is nothing but engineering strain at fracture, which is defined as LF minus L0 by L0. So in this equation, in the place of LF minus L0, if I put this equation, what do we get is this one, okay. Here EF is the engineering strain at fracture, U is the engineering strain at the ultimate tensile strength, and alpha by L naught is the difference. And that difference, if you notice, that difference depends on L naught. Okay, it's a geometry dependence. L naught, gauge length. If I increase the gauge length, then the contribution due to this necking phenomena is less, and if I decrease this L naught, this is going to affect more. Therefore, when I try to understand about the ductile behavior of the material using EF, okay, I should also know what is the gauge length I have used. Okay, otherwise for the same material with different gauge length, you will be getting a different EF, and you will be reporting the ductile behavior of the material differently compared to someone else, okay, who is using different L naught. Okay, so that's the issue. Okay, in order to rectify the issue, we are going to use something called Barbour's law. So according to Barbour's law, it's been mentioned this quantity alpha is somehow depends on the cross section area of the specimen, and the dependence is given using this equation. Okay, so the alpha is proportional to root of the original cross section area. So beta is just some coefficient factor, a proportionality constant. Okay, so now in the place of alpha, if I substitute this one, what am I getting is EF is equal to beta root of E naught by L naught plus EU. Okay, now if you see, for example, there are two persons, and a first person is measuring what is EF and second person is measuring what is EF. But for those two people, if EF has to be same, then what they have to do is they have to maintain this root A naught by L naught to be same. It's not necessary that they have to keep the A naught and the L naught to be same, but this ratio has to be same. Okay, so from there we are getting the standard. So in order to do the tensile test, we can't choose any arbitrary cross section area and length. So there is some standard we need to maintain. Okay, so using that standard, we need to make the specimen and we need to do the tensile test. Okay, fine. Now let's see what are the different these ratio values are being used at various places. And if you see table 8.4, it's been given in United States for a round specimen, this is 4, and for a sheet this is 4.5. and in Great Britain they were using some standard, but nowadays they are using some different standard, and in Germany this is the standard. Okay, there might be different reason for choosing these standards. Okay, but once they choose these standards, then they will be maintaining that standard throughout their country or in that standard. Okay, so that's very important while considering or while doing the tensile test. Okay, so that you will get to know the correct understanding about the ductility. Okay, so that's all about this topic. Thank you.